Welcome to another episode of Futsal 868 Sports Podcast, where fans and experts unite. I'm your host, Geoffrey Edwards, and today's episode is a powerful deep dive into how athletic apparel is evolving on and off the field. We're talking performance meets personality, heritage meets high tech, and we've got the right guest to explore it all. Paul Hamburger, CEO and owner of Admiral Sports, one of the most iconic names in global sportswear. From outfitting England's national team in the 70s to pushing boundaries with modern materials and custom designs, Admiral's story is one of reinvention and resilience. Paul's here to unpack how the team today are using style as strategy, how function is driving innovation, and what the future of teamwear really looks like. Point to note, the Futsal 868 team is joining Admiral. So it's really, truly a pleasure to be able to have Paul with us. So lace up, gear up, and get ready, because this is where style meets function. Let's welcome Paul to the stage. Paul.
Hi. Nice to be with you, Geoffrey. Thanks for the introduction.
Who is Paul Hamburger?
Well, I'm a football fan, I guess, at heart. I'm obviously a sports fan too, and a cricket fan, pretty big cricket fan as well. And that's how I ended up getting ultimately involved in Admiral. But my background is sales and marketing, initially in the pharmaceutical industry. And then I spent about 20 years in telecoms. I spent a period of time in cable and wireless, actually in the Caribbean. I was based between Barbados and Jamaica for a while. And that's actually where I kind of came across the Admiral brand, because cable and wireless, of course, were sponsors of the West Indies cricket team and for many years. And Admiral was the shirt supplier to the West Indies cricket team. So we had a relationship, an indirect relationship. And then actually Cable Wireless also sponsored the Cricket World Cup. And I met the Admiral team at the Cricket World Cup as well. And then ultimately in 2010, I acquired the brand. So that's kind of my background and history and how I came across Admiral.
You said you acquired the brand. Tell us, what does that really mean? And tell me, how does that impact you on a daily basis, knowing that this is 100 years? What does that mean to you, getting up every morning knowing that you have the iconic brand of Admiral in your hands as owner?
I think it's funny, actually, you know, when it's a 111-year-old brand now, and it's got such heritage in the UK. And even, of course, throughout the Caribbean, when I'm talking to customers in the US, and very many of them have, there's a lot of Caribbean nationals involved in soccer and cricket in the US. And oh, wow, Admiral's back. That's amazing. And the same for a lot of soccer coaches over in the US that are, oh, it's fantastic. It's great to see Admiral back again and with force. A year ago, we were in Jamaica doing some photo shoots with the Jamaica Premier League, who we're the official suppliers to. And we were also able to do some of the photo shoots at Sabina Park, which was just amazing because, you know, you can just feel the heritage there. You've got Courtney Walsh, we have all the iconic photography of Brian Lara, of course, playing there, and then in just some great players there that have played in Admiral kit. So it's amazing to be part of such a storied history. Some of the best legends of the game, not just the teams like Manchester United and Tottenham and West Ham have worn Admiral, but legends like Pele and Cruyff and Beckenbauer. Obviously, John Barnes, who has the Caribbean connection, who played for Liverpool, of course. And then, as I said, you know, just the greats in cricket, Courtney Walsh, Brian Lara. So there's so many. So it's just amazing to have the opportunity to be part of that brand story, to preserve the legacy and now try and find a way to revolutionize it and sort of take it forward. the heritage really for me is it's the foundation for the innovation that we're now doing. It's not a limitation. It's now the foundation for how we go forward. It's amazing to be part of it.
You really mentioned some iconic sporting heroes, right? But what does that, and you also bring up the word heritage. Heritage today, especially working with the new generation of athletes, what does that mean to you and the Admiral team?
Well, look, it's not the same now as it was, of course. Admiral invented the replica market. We were the very first to do any kind of merchandise deal. When we did a deal back in 1972 with Leeds United, it was the first deal of its kind. Nobody had done a replica merchandise deal before. We were the first brand at the 1974 World Cup to partner with England, put a logo on the outside of a jersey, use dry fit kits, and even put player names on kits. All those things seem to be obvious today because, of course, that's what people do today. But Admiral was at the forefront of that. Admiral literally drove that market. Now, in terms of players, today it's a little different. The very first deal that Admiral did with England was, I think it cost Admiral £10,000 at the time. Today, that same kit deal, there's only been 3 brands ever on the England shirt. Admiral's one of them. But today, the same kit deal is hundreds of millions of dollars. It's not the same clearly today. Admiral today is a community-based sports brand. One of the issues that we identify with today is, as if you want to call it the big 2 or the big 3 brands have increasingly driven up the price of merchandise partnerships, the consumer has had to pay for that. And so what you're actually seeing in places like America, youth soccer participation is dipping. It's been down 14% over 3 years because the cost of the game is driving families away. Only 52% of under 17-year-olds return for a second year because they just hit financial breaking point. You have thousands of dollars in the pay-to-play programs that are the requirement to play in the US. And then on top of that, you've got premium brands that are sort of consuming about 15 to 40% of a family's soccer investment. And so we're losing a lot of talented players who just can't afford to pay $68 for a jersey or $350 for a uniform. And so where Admiral sits today is not necessarily with your Messis or those, it's internationally renowned players, but we are a community brand. We believe that it's important to put money back into the game to develop the talent for the future. And so I think the major brands they're very much focused on the pro teams, not the community as a whole. We believe every dollar saved can fund scholarships, reduce family costs, drive the game forward, bring talent to the fore, and make soccer accessible, basically, not just to affluent families, because and we see that in the Caribbean as well, right? So our heritage is there, but we want the brand to be accessible to everyone, not just affluent families. And so, that's what Admiral's about today. It's not really about sponsoring any longer the Manchester Uniteds of the world. That's, if we were to invest the $1 billion it would take to do that, we'd have to pass on those costs to the end user. And we think it's more important to grow the game.
As we speak about growing the game and the Caribbean influence, it's seen is always believing, Paul. And let's take a look at what Admiral has done in the Jamaican landscape.
Sure.
Our we are the greatest. We have the hills, the valley, the mountains, the sea. We live next door, God.
Very much a diehard Harbour View fan. I used to live next door to the stadium. I used to be a training when I was a smaller boy. To now I'm a man, I'm still carrying Harbour View Football Club.
I love the royal blue and the yellow, always. Them dear to my heart, 5-time champion, it's not a joke thing.
5-time win Premier League, 5-star general.
This season, we hope to put another star on it.
Anywhere I go, I represent it in my home jersey. Then, this was the original.
The away kit is similar to Harbour View first kit. That make it special.
Harbour View Football Club is my club.
And I can't go nowhere else. If you cut me, you see yellow and blue. That stands for Harbour View.
The Jamaica Professional Football League, you all are the official brand sponsor, Admiral. How did that deal come about, Paul? What does it? You're looking at that video. What emotion does it evoke?
Well, look, it takes a good team of people to pull a deal together like that. By the way, I've always had some connection to Jamaica. I lived there for a few years when I was at Cable and Wireless, as I mentioned before. And I mean, it's a great place. It's a great country. Tremendous character, tremendous sporting heritage, not just in soccer and also obviously in cricket and running and what have you. So tremendous sporting heritage. It's just got great potential as well. There's a lot of talent there. I met with Owen Hall and Chris Williams, who run the JPL. Tremendously talented people. We have a really good team on island who represent Admiral on island. We met with the league and pulled a deal together. Before we put the deal together, each of the clubs was doing their own thing. It was pretty disparate. The branding wasn't consistent, and it really didn't represent the league or the clubs in the best way possible to, again, bring the most resource back into the sport. What we've tried to do is tell the story of each club in the league. The Harbour View kit that you saw there, of course, they're known as the Stars of the East. So on that gold, the new gold kit, there's a sort of design of stars on the front of the kit. It's an amazing design. But every single club has an individual design, from the Champions Cavalier all the way through to Montego Bay, and all of them have a unique design that represents their club. We spend a lot of time working on that. We work with local designers as well, who really understand the culture and the history of the towns, the cities, the people, the club. What's the mission of that specific club versus another? Because each club has very much its own identity. And then we bring in the players and the fans. As you could see, there were a couple of fans in that video speaking, and try and bring the community into it, so that the kit does tell the story of the club, but then we give the opportunity for everyone who's part of that to tell that story. Because, as I said before, we believe it's all about bringing that football through the grassroots community back into the community. And that's where we're investing in leagues like the JPL, of course, with you in futsal in Trinidad, and in the US, we're the official supplier to Major League Indoor Soccer. All of their teams wear Admiral as well. And once you work with leagues like that, what you can get is a consistent standard. Sponsors love that, because they can see that their identity is going to be represented properly. It doesn't just help with merchandise sales and revenue in that respect. It actually helps bringing in more sponsors as well, when they can see that the main piece of visual identity on the field, they're going to be represented properly on that.
Brand loyalty in Trinidad and Tobago and also the Caribbean is not necessarily there from a league or team perspective. And I'm going to hit the nail on the head one time. And I do not know if you saw that in Jamaica, but nevertheless, the stories coming out of Jamaica in the transformation of the look and feel, even when it comes to fans' admiration, is tremendous. I could see Admiral doing that across the Caribbean, transforming the look and feel, and how fans now become loyal through purchasing of merchandise. How do you feel about that? And how do you intend to be able to copy and paste, Control C, Control V across the Caribbean, from Jamaica straight down to the southernmost tip, which is us in Trinidad and Tobago? What are your strategies to be able to do such? Okay. And how do you think, and how long do you think it will take for us to be able to be proud of wearing an Admiral Trinbago Futsal League brand? Okay, so look, first of all, whilst I think you can learn from each market, we probably are the brand that doesn't do copy paste. In fact, that's
more or less the strategy of most of our competitors. They take designs, they take what we call templates, they create them somewhere in the Far East. It takes months to bring them over here. They ship them to clubs. You can have any color as long as it's the color they tell you can have, the navy that you want, that they say they have in stock, the green that they have in stock. There's nothing unique or custom. It's templates. And with it, we are truly the exact opposite of that. If you look at the Jamaica Premier League kits, every single club has a different kit. If you look at the Major League Indoor Soccer, every single club has a different kit. And we would do the same in Trinidad. If you look already, we supply Defence Force FC, who've, as you know, done very well and won the title in Trinidad. Congratulations to them. They're an amazing team, great setup. And we're the supplier, Admiral of the supplier to Defence Force. So we hope that more teams in Trinidad will look at that and say, okay, and as you have done, and say, look, let's work with these guys because they produce something unique. We own our own factory, and it's based in the Caribbean, and that's a real game changer for Caribbean clubs, because mostly the products that they're buying are coming from Asia. That means ultimately the cost, once you brought it over here, once you paid the duties and the shipping and all the other costs that are involved with that, actually higher. The lead time is longer, and you get these template designs, not customization. So what we're going to bring to Trini is customization, completely unique, not copy paste, completely unique ideas for each club. Bring it at prices that allow the clubs and the fans to get involved, and do that in a way where it's super efficient for the delivery. We literally make in our factory on demand and ship directly, and effectively we're down the road from you. So that just means it's much more rapid response. Clubs that get into playoffs, clubs that go to tournaments, clubs that get to CONCACAF finals, as Cavalier have done, and they get their kit much quicker because of that. So we're not copy paste, but we will take the experience that we have to help other leagues. Look, this is not rocket science. If you go to the MLS in America, the very first kit deal they did, I think they got about $10 million for that first kit deal. That was it. The second time they signed it, about 7-8 years later, they got 100 million. The third time they got 250 million. Now they're getting over 750 million. And they've progressively done that because all of the clubs have come together and said, we're going to do the right thing for the benefit of the whole league, rather than each club just going off doing, basically doing its own thing. That's where standards vary. That's where quality varies. And I think we are able now to say that we're doing that already for the JPL. We represent the sponsors better, and for the MLIS in America, where once you've got the kits and you've done the photo shoots and the video shoots like we've talked about, it's a much more productive conversation with sponsors, because they see what value they're getting. And of course, that then brings more money back into the sport.
You brought it up, customization. How important is customization today, not just for elite teams, but for grassroots and youth sports?
Well, look, I think, if you look at how kits used to be, it was just very much basic identification, and you would have template kits. And of course, progressively, technology in fabrics meant that you were looking somewhat at performance other than just identity. I mean, the original Gordon Banks England jersey from the 1966 winning World Cup was basically a gold jersey. It didn't have an Admiral logo on the outside, and it was a plain gold jersey, and it wasn't a dry fit kit. That was it. It was just a color and an identity in that way. Today, it's a lot more complex. The fabrics, the fit, the design, and then, of course, it's also about identity and community connection as well. So I think there's somewhat of a psychological impact I think players perform better when they kind of feel better in the kit and they look better in the kit and they feel connected in the kit. We think customization is really important. We've spent a lot of time in the last 10, 15 years moving away from that sort of template model that pretty much every other major brand does, and going into uniquely designed, unique kits that don't offer limited choice and where you have to have minimum orders and the kit manufacturers expire the kit after a couple of years, which is just a nightmare for youth organizations who've got 200 or 300 players, and they're told by one of the big corporate brands, oh, we no longer stock that kit, even if 90% of their club have got the kit and it fits, but only 10% need something new. They've got to replace the whole club's kit. We don't do anything like that. That's just not the way we operate. Ours is it's a big business, but it's a family business as well, and we like to treat people with respect. We don't want to take advantage. So for us, we provide that unlimited customization, that on-demand production. There aren't any minimums. There aren't any expiry dates on kit. We do focus on that team's unique identity and those community values. And then we use social media today, which of course wasn't as prevalent 15, 20 years ago, to tell those visual stories. So it's not just about function anymore. It is very much about the stories that we tell through the kits. Tell us,
as regards to your heritage-inspired designs, as well as your cause-inspired designs. That is, I thought that to be very fascinating and unique, to be able to know that a brand, a sporting brand, iconic brand, an international brand actually cares so much to be able to do such. Speak us through that.
Well, I mean, a great example actually is a club in the US called the Rochester Lancers. The Lancers won the 1970 NASL title. They were originally an Admiral club. 75% of the clubs in the original North American Soccer League all wore Admiral. In fact, 100% of the original indoor soccer clubs wore Admiral. And so the Lancers wore a kit in 1970s that was produced by Admiral, and we created that kit. It's an amazing kit. I sat down with the owner of the Lancers a couple of years ago and said, let's bring that 1970s kit back. And we recreated it. We recreated their home and away version of that kit. It was very, very successful for the club, which generated a lot of money for the club. And then on top of that, that particular club is very supportive. Annually, they do a fundraising program for the local breast cancer charity. And we created a special edition breast cancer jersey for them. Obviously in the pink of the breast cancer charities with the breast cancer logos on it. And again, that was remarkably successful. The club donated many tens of thousands of dollars to the charity as a result of just the sales of that jersey. So it can be very successful. For that particular club, actually, the charity jersey was great because it brought local sponsors who weren't previously working with the club, but because they had an affinity with the breast cancer charity, it got them involved. It got the charity involved. It got all of their community involved with the club to come and watch and be part and engage with the club. And of course, the club had the opportunity to give back to the community in that way as well. So it actually is a win-win. This was a win-win for everyone. The charity did well. The club did well. And actually, they told a great story and really a good community story as well. That's just one example. There are many. We redesigned the original, very successful 1982 England jersey. We have clubs in the States that have that. The hourglass kit, which Admiral's very famous for. It used to be worn by Coventry City in the UK. We brought a version of that back. People want to see, retro is really is on the rise. Retro kits are on the rise. People want to identify with that kind of quality and history that was in the game, and actually Admiral's able to authentically do that because we were there. We were the founders of football, really in the US. We were there right at the beginning, and all the teams wore Admirals. So we can go back and tell those stories in a very, very authentic way because we were the founders of football. So
let's be clear. No one else could do this.
Look, I'm not saying nobody else can do it. I think that's a bit. That would probably no one would believe me if I said that. Look, I think that what other brands have chosen to do, in my view, is take the easy route out. That it's not so easy that way now because obviously with the new administration in the US putting massive tariffs on products coming in from China and Asia is actually no longer easy. But for the last 20, 30 years, they've basically said, we're going to manufacture over there where they thought it was cheap. We're going to bring it in and we're just going to sell it. And people are going to buy it because of our brand. And I think they've got lazy because some of the big brands think they're so powerful that it doesn't matter what they charge the customer. And it doesn't really matter whether they give them great service or a great product. We looked at what they did and said, well, let's do the opposite. They don't own their factory, right? We're going to own our factory. We're going to make it local. Theirs is not local. They all sell through retailers who had a 50% margin. We go direct to the clubs and that margin gets put back into the clubs. They don't do that. They do templates. We don't. We do fully customized. So we try to take the things that we think that they don't do actually that well and just be very different to them. So whilst I won't say they can't do it, I don't know whether some of them are too big to do it now. Every single club of mine, every single club has my cell phone number. Now, we have a team of people that take orders and the team of people that do the sewing and making the kit and shipping the kit. I don't do all of that. But every single president of a club, an executive director, and we have many, many, many of them across the US, Canada, they all have my number. And whilst that might seem a bit crazy, they know that if they really need something, they're not going to come to me to order a pair of socks, but if they really need something, they know they can get straight to the top, frankly, and they can get something done, and they can get it done quickly. And that's something the others are not set up to do. They're just massive and too big and too unwieldy, and they just can't do that. They also know they can't get the kit in the timeline that we do it because we own our own factory. We control the quality, we control the delivery, and we're relatively local. I mean, we're basically a 90-minute flight from you, a 90-minute flight from the JPL in Jamaica, 90 minutes from Miami. We're right in the middle of it. So it just means that we've taken all the inconvenience and all the difficulty out of the purchase. They can order direct, they can order online, they can design their own kits using this amazing tool we've built called Admiral ID, and they get something unique and it's more cost effective. So all of those things, we don't think our competitors do those things well. They do many other things well, honestly, but those things we think we do better.
You're absolutely correct. Because the first time the Futsal Association of Trinidad and Tobago interacted with Admiral was years ago, just before the pandemic, where we ordered some customized futsal balls. The quality was amazing. The turnaround time was amazing. Being able to use the build a ball tool was amazing. And that was how we reconnected to the point whereby the salesperson we dealt with years ago actually wasn't able to answer our questions and our queries and put us on straight to you. And we have had conversations with you up until yesterday afternoon where our accounts were created and you then put us on to another salesperson, account manager. But at the same point in time, we know for a fact that we could be able to have continuous conversation with you. And we look forward to being able to do more of that with you and also to be seen as a conduit to spread the Admiral name in Trinidad and Tobago and the region. And we really appreciate you as a CEO, Paul, to doing things differently and being able to continue to work with the smaller federations, the smaller organizations, but more importantly, the broad base that makes up sport globally. And a lot of persons don't understand that. We're going to take a quick break. And after the break, we're going to speak to innovation and sustainability. But take a look at this. When Paul speaks about heritage and heritage-inspired designs, he wasn't joking. Let's take a quick look.
Admiral knows who we are and where we were. And if I was just pick it up with another club, I think we would just be one of the many. Where Admiral, I feel like we're really important. They care. We matter. Other providers are just not going to feel that way. I'm just going to be, oh, that's just another small order, you know? And Admiral doesn't make us feel that way at all. My name is Kayla Kent Morera, and I'm the president of operations for the Rochester Lancers. I always wanted to work in soccer. I was a soccer player. I love soccer. So I thought, like, oh my God, I just got my dream job. Like, this is so cool. I'm working for the Rochester Lancers. To be able to, like, carry on the legacy, sometimes even I don't think I fully understand, like, how important it is to some people, and what it means to them that we continue to do this. So every day is different. I handle everything from, I don't care, I'll be the equipment manager, I'll do the social media, I'll sell sponsorship, whatever I have to do, I do it. We're a small organization, so I don't have this huge staff behind me, but just make it work. Admiral, it became really easy to work with them year after year. I have my account representative. She handles everything. Honestly, they do all the design process for me. They handle it all in the back end. I feel like they know my needs, they know my wants. You know, so it's just been easy to work with them just because they were involved so many years ago to today and keeping it all consistent across the brand. Here we are today. They're still helping us continue the legacy, telling a story about who we are, who they are, like where we've all came from, and just a story of soccer and family, and that's really what we have here. I feel like they understand it. They understand who we are. They've really been able to tell, like, the story of the Lancers and Admiral and how it started and where we are now. But we still get quality jerseys without having a huge budget, and I think that, like, speaks volumes to who Admiral is, that they provide quality to the teams that they work with. Working with
Paul, quality jerseys with a price that we can work with. Music to everyone listening ears. How do you feel when you hear that? I see this smile on your face. While the video was being played, I could see you shifting in your chair, excited, prideful, not in a negative way, but, you know, it's like seeing the vision come to life and it being recollected. Talk us through your emotions, your feelings when you look at that video.
Look, I feel this way about a lot of our clubs. I got a call a couple of days ago from a club in Florida called Davie United, who were with us for a while, actually, and then they left because a number of families wanted to try out one of the big brands. And then after about 18 months with that brand, the owner came back to me and said, listen, it's been horrendous as an experience. Can we come back? And I'm, of course you can come back. We'd love to welcome you back. We'd kept in touch anyway. And anyway, it's been a year since they've been back. We've just designed some new kits for them, and these kits are just incredible. And they tell the story of the club. And you know, his response was, the family's just blown away by this, and they love it. He's not had any issues with service. He's not had any issues with delivery as he had previously had. And he now has these really unique kits that tell the story of his club. You can see these kits at davieunited.com, their website. They really are unbelievable. And they tell a unique story of the city and the town and the club and the founders. So it's great when you get that feedback from, it's not like that clubs need to give you this feedback. They're all busy. They've got hundreds of kids, hundreds of parents to deal with, hundreds of adults, because this particular club has an adult league as well. And, you know, the fact that they take time out to call you just to say, I can't believe how amazing this is. It's just fantastic. I get excited by that because it means we've done our job well, not just in designing great kit, but in making sure the quality's there and delivering it, and just taking away all of the hassle for these clubs of dealing with kit, and then also helping them generate revenue as well. We have a state soccer association that wrote to me this morning. They had problems with their previous supplier. They came to us this year. We delivered really quickly. They wrote the most amazing letter. It's not something you assume you're going to, I don't ever assume I'm going to get that, right? But we got the most amazing letter about how excited they are and what they want to do next. I think they were quite surprised because they'd been used to pretty average service. 60, 70% of the market that are with these so-called, big halo brands, they buy it because people think, oh yeah, no, I've got to wear that because that's what Messi wears, or that's what Ronaldo wears, and that's what makes me a better player. Of course, you and I know that's not what makes a team a better player. If an organization don't get their kit on time, it's an absolute disaster. If the kit isn't a good quality, it's a disaster. The parents complain, the coaches complain, it's just a nightmare. So when you get those things right, and we've got a better chance of getting it right because we own the factory. When you own the factory, even if you have a problem, you can fix it really quickly. So it's just, we can be so responsive. So yeah, I'm proud of what we did for the Lancers. I'm proud of what we've done for Davey. I'm proud of what we do for, when we get it right, which we do, thankfully, 99.9% of the time. It's good to know that you do a good job and you look after people.
Always. As we said before the break, we're going to speak to innovation. How does Admiral meet and surpass the demands of modern innovation? And what is modern innovation when it comes to in the sports apparel arm of the sporting industry?
So look, when we, I suppose when we bought the brand maybe 10, 15 years ago now, people thought of innovation in fabrics really more than anything else. Actually now it's in the way we produce things and the way we sell things. So we've invested tremendously in our online store solutions to make it more convenient for customers to buy product live online and get it delivered really quickly. We've put a lot into that. And that's what makes us faster, basically, and better. We've also put a lot into our Admiral ID platform. Admiral ID is a piece of SaaS software that essentially allows anyone, you don't have to be technically competent, to design their own kit live online in minutes and then send it straight to print in our factory. Now, what that's done as a piece of technology is it's removed the barriers of design. In the past, what you used to have to do was you'd go to supplier, you'd say, oh, these are kind of the designs I want. The supplier would take a few weeks to get one of their designers to design something on Photoshop or Illustrator or some piece of software like that, which actually isn't really open to the mass public. They are quite technical pieces of software. And then they'd send it back to you and you'd make amends and then you'd send it back. And this would be a process over weeks that was difficult. Now, today, all of our customers can go live online. They can design a kit, they can save it, they can share it with their friends, they can share it with their colleagues in the club. It completely reduces the design to production process from weeks to hours, basically. And that software also impacts a number of other things. It impacts the speed of delivery of the kit, but it also makes it a lot more sustainable as a kit because you're not wasting fabrics, you're not making mistakes. The logos and the names and the numbers are managed by the software. The sizing is managed by the software. When we cut the fabrics, that's cut by laser cutters that are managed by the software. And so you don't get the sizes wrong, they're super accurate. You've got a wider range of sizes. You can do men's fit and women's fit. It's super, super accurate. And actually one of the main things it allows you to do is not hold millions of dollars of inventory that might actually not be purchased. If you look at many of our competitors who make in Asia, they'll bring in container loads of a black jersey, a red jersey, a green jersey. Maybe they get left with, thousands of youth double extra small or adult 5XL or whatever it might be. That's wasteful. It's bad for the environment. There's a huge carbon footprint getting it over from Asia. The whole production process there is different to what we do. So Admiral ID as a piece of software has made it easier for the customer to design a piece of kit. It's made it more customizable. It's made it faster to get it delivered. And actually, it's made it more sustainable because there's much less waste. And so technology is very important. It's just for different reasons it's important. We focused on removing the inconveniences and making it a much better experience to buy your team kit. You talked about customizing and designing your own soccer balls, single unit of ball, single units of jerseys. Previously, you couldn't do any of those things. And now you can because of this software we've developed. We developed this in-house. We've not bought this off the shelf. There's no other brand that has this particular software. We have it. It's integrated into our factory, and that it's not just the front end that makes it really usable, but it's the back end that actually manages the whole production process that makes it just so efficient that it's better for the customer. And that helps in another way as well, of course, which is because it's more efficient, we're able to maintain our prices. Whilst others are putting prices up, particularly because of COVID and particularly because of the tariffs now into the US from Asia, we're not. We've not been in that situation. And that's because we're more efficient.
Congratulations on that. I really appreciate the fact that we could be able to see innovation that really affects the pocket in a positive manner. Truly, it doesn't pass on to us as smaller organizations and sporting federations. Let's talk sustainability, Paul. How is Admiral adapting to the call for more environmentally friendly and ethically produced sportswear?
Look, I think a lot of brands talk about this. I think they talk the talk. I don't think they always walk the walk. And, you know, our fabrics, the majority of what we sell are recycled fabrics. We use water-based inks, which eliminate toxic chemicals. We use forest stewardship approved sublimation paper. That's the process by which you sublimate and make custom uniforms. We use recycled packaging. Our nearshore production reduces the carbon footprint dramatically whilst improving the speed. Single unit production allows us to minimize the wasteful inventory, as I just imagined. And so what we're doing, I think, differently is making sustainability economically viable for families. And so, you know, it becomes a really accessible and doable. I think if you look at what other brands do, I think they'll say it, but they don't really actually execute on it. We are executing on it. Again, that comes through Admiral ID, which others just don't have.
You really and truly are a special brand in so many different ways. And with that being said, let's talk performance and Admiral. Where do you see you all in terms of unique selling proposition when it comes to performance, tying in performance with innovation as well as heritage that you all are known for?
Look, I think the innovation that we've come up with, we see speed as a competitive advantage, okay? We see storytelling as a competitive advantage with every design. It's hard to tell a story if you're the big two and pretty much every kit looks the same. If you're on the field of play, you know, whether it's the stripes on the shoulder or the swoosh or whatever it might be, that's the only identity. Everything else is either red or blue or green or what have you, but basically the templates are the same. Because we are a factory, because of Admiral ID, because of our ability to customize, we can tell these community stories with every single design. So the innovation there allows us to do that. Because we've seamlessly linked the design tool to our e-commerce, it allows people to order online very easily as well. And now we're developing the next level of technologies, which will include AI-based technology to help make the design of kits even better and even more interesting and give even more choice and simplicity for the end user. So technology and this innovation and even our heritage, it all goes together. I said at the very beginning of our call today that heritage is the platform from where we move forward. But our heritage isn't, you know, when you think of heritage, you think, oh, that's the past. Admiral's heritage was always in innovation. The first to use dry fit kits, the first to put player names, the first to put a logo on a jersey. We were the first to do the replica merchandisers. We were always, even though we're a heritage brand, we were always the innovator. We just still are. We're just doing it now with technology, and we're innovating that way to be different to our competitors. Of course, there'll be other things that ultimately will also add to this, whether it's fabrics that allow us to manage inventory and digital asset management and player analytics and what have you. And all of those things will come into play. But we're already doing this. We're on this journey already of innovation.
In terms of the global sports apparel market, it's dominated by the big three: Nike, Adidas, Puma. You guys are one of the many emerging and resurgent brands such as Under Armour, the Anta Sports, which is the owner of Fila, New Balance. We have, in terms of the running industry, we have Hoka One. We have On Running from Switzerland. Where do you see yourself in challenging the big three dominance? And do you see market share going to increase within the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, so two things. Firstly, you can't out-market Nike and Adidas. They're mega brands. It's like Coke and Pepsi, right? They're the biggest. They're probably likely, let's be honest, I mean, you'd love to hear me say, oh, we're going to be bigger than them. Look, they are the biggest, and they're likely will be the biggest for generations to come because they're mega brands. But it doesn't mean people don't want to drink mineral water or Snapple or Dr. Pepper or other brands. They want something. People are craving for something different. I think we're very different to all of the brands you just mentioned. I mean, you talk about brands like Under Armour, very good brand, but they're basically what came from an American football heritage. New Balance, very good brand. I wear the shoes, but they come from a running background. Admiral has its heritage in football and cricket and rugby. Typically, that's our heritage. We've expanded into volleyball and basketball and hockey as well. And of course, we were on the Formula One team. We were also we won the Tour de France with the rally cycling team. So we have been in other sports as well. But our core is football and cricket, and that's where our strength is, and that's where we will always be. We will compete. We do unbelievably well with a fantastic team that we have in Canada. And we are certainly in the top couple of brands in Canada in soccer. And so, we're already there. In the US, obviously, the soccer is a big sport in terms of youth participation. But of course, there's other sports there, and that's why we added volleyball and basketball and what have you to grow our market share there. And we can do that, of course, because A, we own the factory, and B, we have Admiral ID, which allows us to customize those uniforms as well. And people aren't doing such a great job in that market. I mean, the cost of customized basketball kits is insane. It's insane. So, we are democratizing customized kit across multiple sports. And I think we believe that will see our market share grow because actually people do want quality, customization, unique identity. They don't want the restrictions of the big brands. And actually they want personal service. It's nice to know that you're dealing with someone and not a faceless organization that have to put you through multiple levels to actually get any answers on anything. So I think we do see our market share growing and our business is growing because we're trying to, if you put the customer at the center of what you do and you ask your customers what they want and what they need and what are the problems that they face, what do they want to just avoid having? I cannot tell you how many clubs come to us, they call us and say, look, we've had this terrible experience. And I'm just shaking my head. I don't understand how they can get into that situation. We make sure that we put them first. And when you put them first, hopefully, you deliver a good job, they're happy, but most importantly, they will refer you to other people and they will help you build your business. Our customers are helping us grow. They're our best advocates.
And we are one of those. Are there new markets or athlete segments Admiral is looking to serve as the sport landscape evolves?
Yeah, look, I mean, we always look to new countries. We could do, we can grow certainly into Latin America more than we have. I mean, Admiral is historically a British brand, so it resonates very much with the Caribbean. It resonates obviously in the US and definitely in Canada where we do very well. We'd love to do more in Latin America as well. and I think there's tremendous opportunity there. As I said just a second ago, I think we see that a lot of people are always trying to expand into different areas, but actually just within soccer alone, we see the challenge that soccer clubs have. The smaller or medium-sized clubs have to compete, certainly in the US market, with these massive conglomerate type clubs that have got 10,000, 20,000, even 40,000 players. And they've lost all the personality, these clubs. If you've got 40,000 players in your club, how are you really looking after the players that are not your elite players? How are you looking after that next level of player that just wants to play the jet game and enjoy it and be coached and be developed? It's got to be very, very hard to focus on your second, third, and even fourth teams. We see that as an opportunity because I think those players feel let down. Some of the smaller clubs and medium-sized clubs just get terrible service because they're not big enough for some of the big brands. And we think there's tremendous opportunity just within football for organizations that are not getting good service. And it's getting harder to get good service. So we think we'll grow within soccer. We think the customization will help us grow because, customization in Europe is quite advanced in many sports. It was less advanced in the US. There's a tremendous demand now for customized kit, and we're at the forefront of that. So, everything from growth through just providing decent service to growth through providing customized kit. And then, of course, as I said before, growth through adding additional sports. And maybe the fourth area will be growth through international markets. And I think all of those are opportunities for Admiral.
How do you envision the future of teamwear? Will we see a greater fusion of fashion, tech, and sport?
Well, I think within teamwear, you've already got, I'm wearing our lifestyle range at the moment. This is the jersey I'm wearing right now. And you see this fusion of fashion and lifestyle and leisure with team. And that's why we brought in that particular range, which you can see on our website, admiral-sports.com. You can look at the lifestyle range. So I think there's going to be that will increase. We're already seeing tremendous growth in the retro range of kit. Admiral Sports over the last year recreated the New York Cosmos kit that we created back in the 70s that Pele wore, and we just recreated that range. So I think retro is definitely an area that's growing, and I think people want to wear those authentic kits. I do think you'll see increasingly technology coming into the kits. It's already happening. That's not necessarily new, where you have player data and player metrics through either footwear or the kit itself. You can see that will be ultimately integrated into the fabrics. It's been hard to do that because, of course, any technology that you put into the fabrics, it's got to be able to go in a washing machine. It's got to be able to go in a dryer. It needs some sort of power and battery. And does that make the jersey heavier and what have you? So all of those things are still being developed, but I'm sure that will continue to grow. So the player metric side, as I said, I think what we're doing in sustainability, and not just ecological sustainability, but economic sustainability, I think will become more and more important too in terms of technology. We'll continue developing Admiral ID to make it more usable as well, and to add more features. There are so many features in Admiral ID that will allow people really to create crazy kits. And we're going to continue to keep developing that to make it faster and better and with more choice. So I think there's a lot that can be done, and there's a lot that technology will influence over the coming years. And we're going to be there, do that.
And we'll be at your side as well. At this point in time, Paul, we're going to introduce quick change, fast fits, bold picks. It is your time we're 20 questions, no timeouts, no rewinds, just fast takes on fashion, function, and everything in between. Are you ready?
Wow. I think I'm ready, but I have no idea what's going to hit me here. So who knows?
Yeah, this is normally what we do. We don't tell our guests about this. This is always it.
I know. I'm ready. I've got my hand on the buzzer. I'm ready to see if I can. I might blow it or I might pass. Let's see.
All right. Heritage or high tech? What's your gut pick when designing a new kit?
Heritage.
One athlete, past or present, you'd love to see in Admiral gear.
Kevin De Bruyne.
Wow.
I'm a mad Man City fan.
Okay.
Unfortunately, there's quite a few. Sergio Aguero, Kevin De Bruyne, probably Yaya Toure as well, who I loved as a player. There's just, I don't know where there's so many. We've had a very good 15 years. So, but there you go. My first instinct was Kevin De Bruyne.
Nice. What stylish team in sport? Any era. Most stylish team in sport. Any era.
Look, again, I'm biased. I acknowledge, right? So, if you're asking me about different sports, it would be different, right? If it's football, it's got to be Man City. And for me, I loved the first title-winning side with Mario Balotelli and Sergio Aguero, and it was just an amazing team. And winning that first title was incredible. In terms of a team that just played amazing football, probably even the team that won the Champions League, Man City team that won the Champions League a couple of years ago, it was an amazing team. If it's outside of football, last night's Champions League was unbelievable. Paris Saint-Germain were just outstanding. That's an incredible story to get rid of the kind of players that they got rid of and then win the Champions League after years of trying, but without the likes of the Neymars and the Messis and the Mbappes. That's just an incredible story as well. If it's outside of that, in motorsport, obviously McLaren are doing amazing things at the moment. It's an amazing team. In cricket, I've always had a soft spot for the West Indies. I'm a Lancashire cricket fan, but the West Indies I've always had a soft spot for because of course, because of the Admiral connection. It's a hard one to answer that one because I know. When Brian Lara played and he was playing in Admiral, he was just unbelievable. I mean, he was unbelievable.
Did he set the record in Admiral? Did he set the 501 and 375?
Absolutely, he did. I mean, scoring 200 runs plus in a game for him was not, unheard of. There are. He's iconic. He's on another level.
Please put me down as with a +1 to come to when it is you launch the Admiral Brian Lara limited edition kit. I know you're going to do it. I know.
Let's get together in Trini and let's do that with Brian. With Brian, because he's definitely he was a very, very special player. So I've been really fortunate to meet some of these players, and they are amazing athletes. So it was great that Admiral has been on a couple of those types of people as well.
Before we continue with a quick change, it's amazing that you didn't. I could see Mario Balotelli even now doing a great ad for you when it comes to Admiral. I just don't know why. I could see it. Mario is a
the challenge. The challenge, of course, is that he was always completely crazy, but what a unique personality. And of course, without his incredible pass to Aguero, City wouldn't have won the title, and maybe history would have been different. So there you go.
For real. What's the one piece of sportswear you always travel with?
We have really nice polos, dry fit polos. So when I travel and I have to go to whatever international games or what have you, we've got a very nice polo that I love, and I've got about 15 of them, and all in basically the same color, and that's my lucky polo, and I always wear that color and I always wear that style, and it's so comfortable on the plane as well. So there you go. It's an Admiral polo that I wear.
What color is it?
Blue, always blue, always.
Okay.
You'll see this is blue. The glasses are blue. Man City's blue, never red, always blue.
Football boots.
I know the fans in Trini might have a problem with that because, of course, your national colours are that. But if we get your a great new kit for you this year. I'll wear that on our next chat.
All right, brother. Cool. Football boots, sleek and modern, or classic and old school?
You know, half of me wants to go sleek, classic and classic because, you know, I kind of like the classics, but, you know, I think with football boots, you've got to go technology and go sleek and modern. Go with technology. Faster is better.
You know what? I will go classic. I am a Kaiser fan. I'm a Adidas fan, so I always wear the Kaiser. As a matter of fact, my son's his middle name is Kaiser. I love the Beckenbauers.
Wow.
So yeah, so I will go with classic for real. I still will go with classic. The kangaroo leather. Oh my! And when you see spank through it, it's still amazing for me. I still love it.
My natural inclination is to kind of go with the classic because quality that comes out. But I do think some of the newer innovations in technology on footwear are amazing and
Gotcha.
kind of pretty helpful as well.
Biggest fashion crime you have seen on the pitch?
Oh God, the last night's Inter Milan jersey that they wore for the Champions League final. What a horrible jersey that is. I think that jersey is the reason that they got battered 5-0. So there you go. That was an easy one.
Which sport has the most underrated uniforms?
The most underrated uniforms.
Which
Definitely
sport?
not one-day cricket. But those uniforms are crazy. I actually I don't know which has the most underrated. Actually, I mean, I would say any one of our competitors that makes template kits, they deserve to be underrated uniforms. How about that? And instead, they should have our custom kit.
That's your answer. We're going with it. Best best dressed athlete off the field right now.
You know, when I watch the Ballon d'Or and I see them, I mean, I suppose, you know, the athletes that Messi always looks great in his tuxedo. Ronaldo looks great. I think if you've got the bodies they've got, you can get away with pretty much anything. You can look good. I probably wouldn't look good in the clothes that they wear, to be honest. Yeah, probably those guys, they have the money to buy whatever they want, don't they? And they also have the bodies to go with it.
Good. Bold colors or clean lines when we're speaking about a team kit?
I'm a bold color guy, really. I think, you know, there are lots of clubs that will come to me and say, oh, I want a classic clean line kit. And very often they'll come back with something that's like a single color. And I'll say to them, look, it's hard to tell a story with a single color kit, right? So you can really tell a story through the kit, but that requires you to be a bit bold and kind of a bit crazier with the design. So even if I have a club that come to me and say, look, we like more classic designs, you know, we'll sort of say to them, well, why don't you do a bit more classic on your home kit, but do what a lot of the clubs do, which is they have obviously their away kit and then even their alternate kit, and they can get progressively more crazy, right? So the home is very classic and the away is different, and the third kit is absolutely off the charts, crazy colors, crazy design. I love the third kit. So if you look at the kit that we produced for the New Orleans Jesters, for example, we didn't call it home, away, and alternate. We called them French Quarter because it was a green kit with a design in it, wrought iron design for the French Quarter in New Orleans. We called it Mardi Gras because it was purple gold kit that represented the Mardi Gras, of course, the biggest festival in New Orleans. And then the black kit, which was the alternate kit, was called the Jazz Fest kit. They actually is club now. They sell a ton of those kits to people outside of soccer that aren't even playing for their club or involved in soccer. They just love the designs and they love the kits. So I always prefer to go for bold design and innovative design.
I love the naming convention as well. A lot of names are coming to mind for ours. I love it. I totally love it. You mentioned throughout this entire conversation iconic teams kits that Admiral has had the pleasure of redesigning. Let's step out of that, and I'm going to ask, redesign one iconic team's kit. Which would it be and why?
I mean, the kit that I'd most like to design now as Admiral is Leeds United's kit, because Leeds United was, first of all, congratulations to them because they got promoted to the Premier League. But secondly, they're the original Admiral club. They are the first. They started the Admiral journey. And, you know, I think if we were to go and design a jersey, it would absolutely be for Leeds United.
Zippers or buttons on warm-ups?
Zipper. Yeah, just ease. Make it easy for the look. If you're providing, you have a really good quality zipper. Our zippers are decent quality. If you work with brands that they go cheap on the zipper, then you'd go buttons. But you're asking me the question based on what we do. I would say go zipper.
If Admiral had a signature sneaker, what would you name it?
I have no idea. Honestly, I'm not the footwear guy. I can tell you. I have absolutely no idea. Endgame. Let's go with Endgame.
That sounds cool. Which fictional sports team would you love to kit out? Which fictional sports team would you love to kit out? I'm talking about examples: Space Jam, Ted Lasso, etc.
I mean, I've watched obviously all of Ted Lasso. I'd love to have kitted them out. In fact, we did do all of the crew of Ted Lasso did a photo shoot in Admiral kit, so we have. I'll send you the photo later, but we've got photos of them all the crew in Admiral kit, which was amazing. But I'd love to have obviously been part of that show. That would have been quite special.
What song gets you game ready before a big pitch or presentation?
What song gets me game ready? Well, I'm a big fan of Queen, so I suppose we could, but you know that's kind of obvious, that isn't it? We are the champions. But I'm a big fan of Queen anyway. I'm British, so of course we love Queen. If I'm thinking about city songs, you know, the song. There's a couple that we always love to hear when we're at the Etihad Stadium, of course, Blue Moon, and the Man City version of Hey Jude, which is a great song.
Yeah, iconic British holiday song. Yeah,
absolutely.
Every single pub,
and great on the terraces at a football game.
More pressure. Presenting to a boardroom or revealing a new Admiral kit to players?
I mean, I think it has to be revealing kit to players, because if you do it right, the excitement that you get is spectacular. They're so into it. So yeah, it has to be revealing the kit to players. I mean, I have no problem with presenting in a boardroom. I'm okay with that as well. But yeah, you get the feedback that you get from the players is so raw and so honest. You know whether you've done it right, you know whether you've done it wrong, and also, you know, hopefully if you haven't done it right, then you get pretty straight feedback from the players. So I definitely go with presenting to the players.
And last but not least, describe Admiral in 3 words.
Authentic, innovative, and unique.
Paul, thank you very much. That's a wrap when it comes to quick change, fast, thoughtful, insightful, and a little style under pressure. You passed the
that was quite high pressure. That I didn't have any preparation for that, so I had no idea. But that was fun. But I just say, if you ever ask me that again, I wonder if my answers will be completely different in a few months' time. Let's see.
We're going to take a short break as we get ready for the closing segment. We are here with Paul Hamburger, the CEO and owner of Admiral Sports, an iconic brand that is coming to shows at Trinidad and Tobago through the Futsal Association of Trinidad and Tobago. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the heart of New Orleans, where the beat of the city matches the spirit of its people. Beyond the soccer field, there's a story woven into every stitch of our jerseys. For us Jesters, it's more than just a uniform. It's the symbol of a team deeply rooted in the community. A team that's not just about winning games, but about uplifting lives. Since day one, Admiral has been there, helping us weave our tale into the rich tapestry of New Orleans soccer culture. Our latest jerseys reflect the vibrance of the city itself, drawing inspiration from the iconic architecture, the energy of Mardi Gras, and the soulful rhythms of jazz. Here in New Orleans, we're committed to building something special in our city, because we're not just playing soccer, we're creating opportunities. We're not just developing players, we're nurturing leaders. With every match, we're spreading a message of unity, hope, and community, showing what it means to be part of something bigger than ourselves. So when you wear the New Orleans Jesters kit, remember, it's not just about the game. It's about being part of a legacy that's shaping our city. Admiral, what makes the jersey?
About closing thoughts and advice. Paul, for young designers and entrepreneurs interested in sportswear, what lessons have you learned leading a legacy brand through modern re-innovation?
I think the biggest lesson is to put the customer story and the customer experience first. It's what we do. And I think then if you have a team behind you, that you have to align them behind that so they understand and they're incentivized to lead with customer satisfaction and solving challenges in one call and responding to people in a timely manner. I think the third thing is that you can have great insight, but insight alone isn't enough. You've actually got to take action. You've got to do. Lots of people have ideas, but it's not so easy always to execute on those ideas. So you've actually got to take action. And, you know, if you make mistakes, because young designers, entrepreneurs, we've made lots of mistakes over the years. Get over it. You know, don't regret it. Don't harbor on it. Don't dwell on it. Learn, move forward with energy, focus, and purpose. Don't dwell on the past. Just move forward.
Being game ready, what does that mean to you as a brand promise, but also as a philosophy?
Well, look, I think the first thing about being game ready is the kit has to be there. So many of our competitors have not delivered in the last year. They didn't deliver through COVID. They haven't delivered in the last year because of various reasons, the wars around the world and what have you, and they've let clubs down. So I think to be game ready, you've got to have your kit ready, and we haven't let any of our customers down this year. So that's really important. Make sure that you don't let people down. Do what you say you're going to do. Deliver on your promises. I think secondly, just make sure that every talented player can afford to participate. There's a lot of talent out there that can't, and I think that's really important. That's why I think we remove some of those economic barriers that exclude, you know, tomorrow's champions. And I think connect emotionally with the players, the club, the community, and have pride, that they can have pride in the kit and who they represent, so that when they go out on the field, they have a real identity. And I think that helps to give a team purpose as well. So that to me, those are the main elements to me. Yeah. And I think, you know, wrapping all of that in personal service actually matters. That I think is key too.
What have we not been able to discuss that is on your mind now that you'd like to share with our viewers?
Honestly, absolutely nothing. You've asked loads of questions, and I don't know whether anyone's going to want to listen to me for this long, to be honest. But honestly, no. You've covered a lot. We covered a lot of ground today.
It's an utmost pleasure, Paul, to be able to be a part of, or have you be a part of it. You shared with me two podcasts that you have been on, so we try to make it a little bit different here at Futsal 868 Sport Podcast, and I hope that you truly enjoyed it. A big thank you for sharing the incredible journey of Admiral Sports and giving us a front row seat to the intersection of tradition, innovation, and performance.
And we're looking
To our
forward
listeners,
we're looking
to our
forward to
listeners
doing a lot more in Trini as well, by the way, and not just backing Defence Force and backing you in futsal in Trini, but we're really looking forward to working in Trinidad and with all soccer and all sports there.
Thank you very much, Paul. Truly a pleasure,
Thank
my
you.
brother. Have a good one. And I know, as you always say, you're a phone call away. So definitely we'll be in contact. Have a great Sunday evening. Thanks again. And be blessed. Have a great week ahead.
Thank you so much.
All right. That was Paul Hamburger, CEO of Admiral Sports. If you love today's conversation, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share the episode with your fellow game changers. Want to see how Admiral is suiting up the next generation of athletes? Check them out at admiralsports.com or follow them on social media. Until next time, stay bold, stay game ready, and remember, style isn't just what you wear, it's how you play. This is Geoffrey Edwards of the Futsal 868 Sport Podcast. Have a great one, guys. See you soon.